Hi creatives! I want to welcome you back to the design studio where today, as promised, continuing through the month of August, we're going to be working on some of your seasonal favorites. And this one kind of came at me last minute. I was like debating, I'm like, okay, we're going to work on something fall, but fall what? And so if you've ever wanted to know how to create one of those gorgeous floral bike wheel or bike frame wreaths, that's what we're going to be working on today. And I'm going to walk you through all the steps. I'm going to show you how super simple it is. And if you don't like it, you can always take it off and rearrange it to your heart's desire, because we're not making it a permanent stick. So, but then again, if you want yours permanent, you can definitely do that. So I'm going to, like I said, walk you through all the steps. But I want to welcome you, especially if you're a first-time viewer. I'd love to know where you're from. And a lot of times, that's where I met all of my crafting connections, was based on Facebook Lives. I would find people that had similar interests as mine. Sometimes they weren't even like close to the same place where I was. And we've become lifelong friends. So I would encourage you to let me know where you're from. Also, if you want to be notified whenever I go live, which is every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific and every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, make sure you're doing two things. One, that you've liked this page, but also that you're following it. Now, Facebook did something and they kind of hid the follow button. So if you can find the like button, if you go right across from that, you'll find three little dots. Click on that, it gives you the option to follow the page. And then that way you should be notified. I don't have things like iNotify or whatever some people have on their other pages. And you'll see people start to comment that. That doesn't work for me. So just the like and follow is where I go. Also, YouTube subscribers, if you want to participate in the Facebook Live, hop on over to Facebook. I'm at Cats Creations Wreaths. And for those of you on Facebook, if you don't know that I have a YouTube page, same name, Cats Creations Wreaths, you can find all of my public tutorials there. But for YouTube subscribers, if you want to get notified when I drop a new video for you to watch, just make sure you're subscribing by clicking the little bell in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and get my tablet up so I can see all your wonderful comments, and then we'll go ahead and get started. But let me make sure I post the information. So if you guys want free tutorials, would like to grab my free bow recipe, you can do so on my website, which is catscreationsandmore.com. Go ahead and pin that. Okay, come on. There we go. All right, not the most tech savvy, especially when you're tapping on a touch screen. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot you down so you can see what we're working on for today. So bear with me just 1 second. Like to make sure you have a good overhead view. So this is a first. You may have found a previous fall bike wheel tutorial on my YouTube page, but this time we're going overhead so you can see exactly what we're doing. So this is a 16.5 inch, and this is a really rusted, I don't know if you can see that. I mean, they really went to town. This is like Rust City. So I love this, but Craft Outlet started carrying these. So I was kind of tooling around my studio today, came across this, and I thought, you know what, it's been a while. So I think 2021 was the last time I created one, so we're going to make one for 2023. And we're going to kind of go with your typical fall color palette, but we're going to go a little darker. So what do I mean? Well, you'll have the option, if you purchase this, to choose to place the sign on it, or choose to leave the sign off. I'm going to use this little 6x4 by 6x4 welcome friends sign. This is from Hobby Lobby. You can pick that up. So I wanted to go with a much darker color palette. So more like your golden yellows, your burnt oranges, your sagey greens, a little darker, not the bright yellow, orange, and reds that you're thinking of. So taking my inspiration from the sign, so let me flip it so you guys can see what we're doing. This is our color palette. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to like put that off to the side. I'm going to introduce you to a totally, some new florals to make the design process easier. Cheryl said, where'd you get the rusty wheel? Craft Outlet. So if they still have them, this is where I got my rusty wheels from. So going with a darker color palette, we're going to use some fall colored Boxwood. Now this has, it's kind of like, you know, your light sage, but it's kind of going into that faded fall look. We have some darker greens. We have some that are kind of like trending into like a beige color. So we're going to be incorporating pieces of this. These are from Greenery Market. Greenery Market, if I can't get to Michael's and find something what I want, Greenery Market is usually my go-to source for florals. So you can find these there. So we're going to be using those. We're also going to be using from Greenery Market too. They have this, it's called the Fall Favorite Greenery. And so it's got everything from, I'm trying to think of the names of all of these. God, I don't even know off the top. I'd have to do identifier. But it's got some of the rust colored or burgundy colored, the sagey greens, a little bit of the golden yellow. So I think this is called Fall Favorite Greenery. So that's where you can pick that one up. We're going to be incorporating those. And then we're going to make things super simple by tapping in to this. Some of you guys might have seen this on Kalia's, but it's not where I got it from. I got it from Greenery Market, and this is their Coral Fall Assorted Floral Pick. So as you can see, it's got some coral sunflowers. It's got some rusty colored berries, a little bit touches of the yellow and goldenrod, lots of berries, lots of sages. So when you have something like this, it takes the guesswork out of the majority of your design. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be using 2 of these. We're going to be placing one on the high side. We're going to be placing one on the low side. And then we're going to be adding some other florals just to kind of elevate that. But if you just want something basic, find a gorgeous pick like this. And then maybe just, you know, add in a couple pieces of, you know, this greenery. You can take a little couple pieces of the boxwood. You can put that all together and you have a super simple fall arrangement. You can even do that on the grapevines. So we're going to be utilizing this. We're going to be taking our boxwood, and we're also going to be taking these. They're called pom-poms. They look more like thistle to me, because God knows I've been pulling thistle out of my garden forever. It's like a daily upkeep. So we're going to be using some of this sage pom-poms. This is from Greenery Market as well. What else? We're going to be using some sunflowers, and these are from Hobby Lobby. Now Hobby Lobby makes 2 different kinds of sunflowers. So they have sunflowers for fall, which have the sage green, and then they also have the fall flowers with a deeper, brighter green. What's the difference? Well, these are more bright yellow. These are more of a muted yellow. They got a little bit of a brown center. They got a little bit of a brown fading to brown around the outside, but I like these better for fall. This is more for summer, so we're going to be using the fall variety. We are also going to be using my favorite. These are mums, and they're like in a goldenrod color. These are from Hobby Lobby, so keep in mind every so often Hobby Lobby might throw their florals on sale, so wait till they do go on sale and pick those up rather than pay full price. Also, we're going to be using some orange colored mums. I got these at Michael's a couple years ago. So these are going on, and then we're going to be adding some Dollar Tree mums. So that is all the colors that we're going to be incorporating in this, and we should be ready to go. Let's make sure. Hi Cheryl, hi Teresa, hi Pam, hi Faith. Okay, so super simple. We've got to be taking price tags off of things as we use them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this one is going to kind of go up and cascade over. Now there's a lot of really great florals you know, depending upon where they're at. I want to make sure we can see those like that. The yellow. We want to bring those back up to the top. So I'm going to be creating one that's going here. Trying to grab my other one. So that's like playing with it beforehand. We're going to be taking the other, laying this at the bottom. We want to save a hand's width for our bow. So we are going to be adding a bow to this design. So super simple. Let me take this tag off as well. And what I'm going to do, like I said, hand's width. So if you think about it that way, that's basically what we're building. So I'm going to push that forward. This is where we're working today. And if you notice, these stems go a little further than where I'd like them to wind up. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if these will work. These may or may not be thick enough. It looks like it should be. Really, let's try to go right about in there. There's that one. And I want to cut about the same. There we go. Okay. Hand's breadth, hand's width, right? And then this is where we're going to build from. So one's at the top, one's at the bottom. All of the flowers are identical. It just makes the process so much easier. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take some of that eucalyptus. So we have them like this. I like to mix and match. So I like to take these and just kind of weave them in. So it kind of looks like, hey, that came like, it came like that when you bought it, right? No. So you might want to, you know, weave some of your berries, some of your florals in there. I like that like that. What we do to the top, we're doing to the bottom. So I'm doing the same thing here. And I kind of pick that up, drop that inside, bring some of our berries to the front, like that. We'll take another 2 pieces of that right off the stem. I like to work with the largest part of the stem if possible, like this. So I've got one here. I'm gonna, let's see, want it to feel more natural and not more forced. I like to keep some of that rust colored piece at the bottom, and then bring some of our yellow up at the top. So that is fine for the bottom for me. I'm gonna go ahead and grab another big bite. We'll do the same for our top. Kind of feel like it needs to be right in here as far as filler. Okay, so we've got top, we've got bottom. I'm going to grab some of this for filler as well. I'm just going to kind of tuck this down on the bottom for texture. Okay, this one was going here. This one will go over here. I'm kind of basically designing my whole thing. Let's see. Wanted this piece so I can kind of weave it in a little bit more. So it'll kind of fall into that category. But I also need some pieces that will feather the ends. So I'm looking for things that have little ends on them. So like these 2 will be perfect. These are actually going to sit a little higher up into my display. This is going to kind of go up in here like that. Okay, now to make the whole process a little bit easy, I'm going to start with just one section here. I'm using zip ties. So I'm going to use black zip ties because they are less noticeable than the white ones. And what I'm doing is, as I'm adding to those pieces, like here's my boxwood piece, I want to make sure that I am successfully able to hold all those pieces together. Anything like these two pieces, we're going to simply attach these to the bundle once I get the rest of the bundle together. So I'm just going to start this down here. Just like this. Then I'm going to take these two pieces. They are now going to attach a little higher into my bundle so that as I'm adding this, these two pieces will now be on the back side, adding some more texture to where we're going to lay this. Okay, just like that. So looking at it from the back, this is technically what I'm doing. Remember how we had that really big bite of our big pick? Let's see if I have some small blacks. I do. We are going to add those to the mix. This is actually going to go really easy once you get everything together. So I am taking this big chunk here. Okay, I'm preparing my zip tie so that when I add these to the back, I can kind of keep them all together. And you're not going to see that because that's going to be added onto our bike frame. So that now when we lay this on our frame, we've got a whole lot of stuff happening here. Okay. In addition to this, I want to add some other colors so that we can incorporate those colors from our sign. So we're going to come in with 2 of the orange mums. We're also going to come in with some of our golden mums. We're going to add our thistle. So the easy way is just to start adding them to your bundles where you want to see them. So like, I like the thistle kind of right up in here. In addition, I'm going to put my mums in there. And the fact that I have a really long stem just makes it that much nicer because that can get utilized from the back so that when I pull my mums in, that's all in there as well. And then we're going to add our mums to the bottom here. We're going to add one here to the side, just like that. And I'm just holding the whole thing like it's a nice pretty bouquet. I'm going to add our sunflower right here to the mix. And then we're also going to add in, as soon as I find it, our other Dollar Tree mums for that color. So we're just placing those right inside for more texture and more color. Now that I've added everything in this bundle, I want to make sure that it's all nice and secured. So I am going to take another large zip tie, and I'm going to zip tie everything in that bundle because we've added the mums, we added the sunflower. Okay, and is there anything that I think might not stick? I think everything is pretty well in there. So my whole thing is to make a mirror of this for the top. So what we did on the bottom, we're also doing on the top. So we're going to add our eucalyptus. Okay. I'm going to take these. I'm going to add this to the back. Add this one to the back. Sometimes you might be able to get it all in there. Just like that, which I am. So I don't want that size. I want a little bit bigger because we've got a little bit bigger bundle going on here. nice and tight. Okay. Now we need to add in our accent flowers. So we're going to add another piece of our sunflower. This one with a little bit of a bud in it. Here's that sagey green. This is going to kind of go a little bit lower. Our 2 mums. It's imperative that you try to get them with the longest stems possible, just in case you need an extension. Remember, these go to our outside, so it's going to kind of tuck in here, just like that. We want to add in some of our golden rod mums. So it's imperative you push all your greenery up. Okay, we're going to tuck that one. This is kind of where I want this to drop in at, right in here. We still have our coral. We'll still have our sunflower, our mums. We need the other mum from the Dollar Tree. And we'll grab this one. And we need another piece of our thistle. So our thistle. Sometimes you just trying to get it through all the leaves and the pick. So here's our thistle. We're going to add in our yellow mum. Just like that. Add in our sunflower. Our mum is going to kind of go here. I'm going to have this one go out a little bit further. Zip tie the whole bundle. So right here. Up nice and tight. Okay, obviously we have some stems that are just way too long. So we're going to snip all these down. Okay. Same thing here. Anything that protrudes beyond the end. So now we're going to join these two together like a perfect marriage. So just like so. One more zip tie, and trust me, don't worry about the zip ties because that's all going to get covered by our bow. We just want nice and tight to ensure that we have both pieces secured together. So I just put one a little bit higher, one a little bit lower. And then you want to bend. You want to bend things because we're putting it on a round or curved wheel. So this is actually going to sit below how there's that rim in here. That is where our floral piece is going to go. So super simple. We're going to secure it onto our frame with 3 zip ties. So once in the center, once on the end. If you want to do a smaller zip tie, it's entirely up to you. But we really want all of our floral, our sunflowers. Everything's wired, so the nice thing is that we'll be able to go in and fluff as we need all our florals. So I kind of want to take the meaty pieces. Kind of secure those. I don't know if my smaller zip tie will go around it or not. Seems like it will. Once I get some stuff out of the way, like the berries. I have some berries in my way. Okay, now those are secured there. Doing the same thing here. Gonna grab the larger piece of our stem. We're gonna zip tie that here. Actually helps, Kat, if you make sure that your pipe tie or zip tie is the right way. If you use the bigger ones, obviously it's going to fit in there so much nicer. These you can bend so they stay along the direction of our frame. But we do need to get in, cut the excess off. You can bring them in. You can fluff them however you like. Okay, now we are going to add in our bow. So super simple, width of our hand. It's perfect for our bow. The ribbon choices that I have, those the one berries, they just shed a lot, these, because I think they're just painted on with the color. And here's a tip. So let's say, for example, you don't have a rusted wheel. Maybe you have a green one. Maybe you have a pink one or a white one. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace, you can pick up a metallic Krylon outdoor paint and spray paint your frame any color you want. So obviously we're not done with this. We're going to add our bows. So color choices we're going to pick up this foil, orange with foil. We're going to do a brown gingham. We're going to do a fall plaid, and then we're going to come in with that sage green. So super simple for making the bow. I'm going to use my bow dabber strictly to hold all my ribbons. So we want to do double loops both sides, but the first thing you have to do is you have to determine where's your tail. Where do you want your tails to fall? Do you want your tails to fall super long into your design? You know, maybe you want them to kind of cascade, kind of swirl around a little bit. Might even go a little bit longer than that. Let's go like that. I like the gold. So this one's going to get a 15-inch tail. But before we do that, we're going to dovetail the ends, which simply means we're going to cut on our folded side down to our wired point. I'm trying to think, 5, 4.5, 4, 3.5, I think is what I'm going to do. So we're going to do 15-inch tail. So right about here, right there is 15 inches. We are going to do 5-inch loops for here. So let me move this out of the way. Let's get all this. See? It makes a mess. But what I'm going to do afterwards is spray it in hopes of keeping that on. I think it's just, once it's on there, it's good. But let me double check. I didn't even measure before I pulled that. Sorry. So 5-inch loops, that's like going to be 5.5. So I take my bow dabra, set it right on the 10. We're going to pull this in till we're right at 5-inch loops, right there. Do the same on the other side. Double check. So we're still a little over. And we're going to go back twice. So it means we're going to do a double set. Because we've measured the bottom, we just put our fingers in the top and pull. We don't want an overly full, fluffy bow, but we do need it to be somewhat fluffy. We need to stretch this out to 15 inches, which is here. Dovetail the end. This one is done. This ribbon, by the way, the orange with the foil is from the Wreath shop. So if you like that, that is where that came from. Let's put our pin in it. I just found the pin, so it's here. Then we're going to take our, I think I want to put the plaid on the outside. So I'm going to take the green, I think. And we're going to bring this into a 10-inch tail. So 10 inches. So it's going to be a little bit shorter than this because I want this one to spiral. So we're going to bring this one to 4.5 inches. So there's 4.5. Measure the other side, 4.5. We're going to do that twice. Take advantage of that cheat, which is once you get your measurement for the bottom, then when you lay your top one on it, it's exactly the same. But we still need 10-inch tail. Dovetail the end. Hi, Teresa. Let's see what else. Oh, hi, Maddie. Hi, Cheryl. This is coming together so fast. Right, because I put together a preformed pick. That makes it so much easier. And then you just pop in all the other things that you like. Now we're going to do the brown. So this is my new favorite ribbon. This is from Crinkle Designs. So you'll like this because it's a two-sided ribbon. Not only do you have gingham on one side, you have stripe on the other side. So it just depends on what you like. We're going with the gingham. Because remember I said we're going darker. So we're going to do this one at 9 inches. And we're going to do 4-inch loops with this. So just up. Make sure it hits our 4-inch mark. Right there. 4 inches the other side. And then we're going to do that twice. One more. Up, over, and down. And then we still need to measure this out to 9 inches. Okay, dovetail our end. Okay, that one's all done. Now I do these for the patriotic holidays. I have done it for spring. I've done it for Christmas. And so we're going to make this for fall. Because I think fall should all be about florals. It doesn't always have to be about it, but it's kind of nice. Just to have something different. You can add this to your porch, like next to maybe your light fixtures. We're going to do 7.5 inches for the tail length here. And we're doing 3.5 inch loops. So 3.5 inch loops are pretty small. So 1, 2, and we'll go ahead and do doubles on this. So we have doubles of everything. That's going to make it a very full bow all the way around. Even though I said we weren't doing a full bow. But we're only doing 4 ribbons. So it kind of felt like it should be. You know, have some volume to it. Okay. Let's get the ribbons out. We're going to do a sagey green pipe cleaner. So we'll prep that so that by the time we lift the whole thing up, we're just going to drop our pipe cleaner right inside, hold the stack on the bottom, pinch it right with your finger, and just rotate your stack. This is going to be fluffed on the actual wreath because we don't know where our bow's going to go. I mean, we kind of know where our bow's going to go, but we don't know where we're going to put our loops. It looks weird when you look at it like that until you come in and we plop our bow down right in the center. And we're just going to twist our pipe cleaner on it. And then we're going to start fluffing. So I know I want this one ribbon to kind of come down a bit because it's going to spiral. And we can do the same thing with this, in the fact that I mean spiral, which means just kind of come down at an angle like this, just so it looks kind of elegant, kind of pretty. You know, it can even weave its way through some of your greenery, through some of your florals. But before we do that, let's go ahead and fluff. So we're going to pull those out. We're going to pull these out. And all I'm doing is I'm separating the loops from the tails right now. And just separating all my loops. And then this way, if we want to make any changes like you may not want, and your loops on your bows do not all have to be the same. You can have short tails, you can have long tails, you can have them do whatever it is that you would like them to do. You can have them kind of cascade in and under. You can have them come up to the top. I'm actually just going to fluff this one. And separate these. And separate our browns. And then separate that plaid. And then bring this down. Like so. We can bring these up. We can bring some of our loops up on the high side. You can bring them down to the low. It is honestly whatever your desired look is. If you feel like you want to cut something a little bit shorter, by all means, feel free to do that. So there is our bow. If you want your bow to sit a little higher, just undo your pipe cleaner. Like I want mine just to sit up just a touch higher. So I'm going to take it up. Just a bit higher. So it sits tighter to the one that's closer to that. So now I kind of have like a plan and a purpose. Hey, here's where some of my loops are falling. Still have our, you know, our spiral ribbon, you know, and that's the nice thing about your ribbon is you can, here's the easiest way to do a spiral is like if we're doing it here, that was a casual spiral, is just roll it whatever way you want. You can roll it under, roll it over, it doesn't matter, but roll it up, grab your end, and then just pull it out sideways gently, and then you have your spiral. Or you can just hand twist them to where they wind up, you know, wherever you want them to be. And then just fluff your greenery, just like so. I'm just moving certain things around in my bow. Kind of want this one to fall down right through there. Here's my other spiral. Just like that. And then I'm going to attach my sign. Like I said, this sign is optional. If you don't want it, I'm leaving it off or leaving it on. So if you don't like it on, you can take it off and just leave it like this. Generally, when I do these designs, I try to go no more than half. That's an idea, Cheryl. She said, are you going to add cinnamon sticks? You definitely could. You can add baby pine cones. You can add acorns, whatever you'd like. So I'm going to take and remove the twine from my sign. And this is just going to, I had it situated. I try to find the way I had it sitting. I like it to actually show that it's a bike wheel. Pretty much right there. And then I might bring some of my florals down and out a little bit, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to, let's use brown for my pipe cleaners on the back. So to hold my sign, I'm going to put one at the top, one at the bottom. We're going to staple that on. Like I said, if the customer chooses and they're like, oh, I don't really want that sign on there, take the sign off. You can just simply untwist it, remove it right off the design. To right into, and I always just twist them so it doesn't pull out. So, back on here. This is super simple because you have so many different places to tie that on. I'm just going to take these two. Trying to get this one. Trying to get the first one on. So twist it to the back, bring it up to the top. I like to just put it around two, because if you just put it around one, it'll never quite be tight enough. So this will kind of go under, but then give a bigger bite. I need it to be, let's get it in here, because I don't want it to show. And that doesn't want to go there. So back over here, let's grab this one. I'm going to grab the one under it. Right there. Nice twist. Okay, so that's what you're looking at thus far. So I just want to take a couple more little pieces and just kind of feather this edge a little bit. So the easiest way to do that is just with some of the greenery. So let's take this piece. I like them with the little red tips on the end. This one and this one. So what I'm saying is these are going to kind of come like, trying to get my florals back up here. Bend that all the way around. That will come there. And then this piece here, see they're wired, so I want to bend them so that it will follow this design all the way through. So I'm looking, I'm checking just to make sure it kind of falls. Because look at what happens when this is the way it is now with those little extensions on them. But when I remove those extensions, look what happens. So I'm going to take this one out and take this one out. It kind of feels like, hey, it needed those pieces there. This is what I call feathering the edge. It means there's such an abrupt end here. We need to kind of feather that out so that it can kind of, you know, end the way it would naturally on a plant. Gonna pull the piece back up. Every time I touch these little flocked florals, they just want to bleed everywhere. Again, keeping our florals up at the top, just like that. You can even use a smaller flower, like the mums, if you wanted, to fade those florals out a bit, like this. So that logically they kind of make sense because we have the yellow in here. And of course, I feel like this is, if you give a mouse a cookie, you know, if you add this, you end up having to add that. So let me look at one of these if we choose to do this. Just because I'm like, okay, here's all these other pieces. It's kind of heavy florals at the bottom, but not so heavy florals here at the top. Like that. Like that a little bit better. I still think there needs to be one more something in there. So this is just me getting way too picky. And all I'm doing is placing things before I decide if I want to make them a permanent stick. I like that a little bit better. So lucky thing for me, I have just enough to do it to the bottom as well. So if we add that there, we're going to do the same up here. We're going to add our thistle. Thistle is here. Let's push that back in a bit more. And there we have a little bit more of a feathered design. So I'm going to zip tie those pieces in. Small little zip ties. And then we're done. And I'll show you what it looks like on the door. So these ones are super simple because we put them a little closer to the bottom. I'm just going to run my zip tie up and through everything we just added. And if there's just like you're thinking, oh, I just need like one little piece of boxwood, but I don't really want to put a whole boxwood piece in. Here's the great thing is that you can, trying to get my zip tie end under my leaves. There we go. You can just add a dab of glue. Like, let's say, for example, I just wanted to add a little piece of boxwood here. You could take and, glue whatever little piece of boxwood you want, or maybe you want it to kind of come up here just a little bit more. You can just take some hot glue, put it on your tip, and then add that in to that bundle you just zip tied down. And these are perfect for, like I said, you're just like, oh, like I can see my zip tie, or I can see there's just like a hole and I want it to cover up that hole. Well, just use your little baby bundles that way. So there's that one. That's all in. You need to do this one. So same thing here. I always want to make sure that where I'm zip tying it, I can't see the zip tie. And that I'm not also restricting the movement of the florals that I just added. So right in here, let's add a couple more pieces of the boxwood, just because I have these like 4 pieces sitting here. I think when I cut my bundles off, they were just a little too close to the end, so they just fell off. So we'll add one there. We'll tuck this one in under here. We'll wrap this under. Sometimes when you need something to stay, it helps if you just kind of weave it in with everything else you've got going on. Okay, there it is in all its glory. You guys ready to see it on the front door? I'm gonna go ahead and pivot you up. Hi all. Always making sure that you can see. All right. So yes, it is hot in the studio today. I want to say it's like 80, it's 85 in here. So I keep a clip in here just to do sloppy buns. So and then depending upon where you want certain things to fall, you might want to alter your design. You might want to cut. Your ribbon tails might not be lining up where you want them to go. It might be a little, like this one feels like it's a little too long. So just trim it so it falls where you want it to fall. So that now that kind of folds around. I think it's, is it straight? I think it's straight. But there you go. That's it in a nutshell, and that's how simple it is to put something like that together, and it makes it seem like, oh wow, you're like a master floral coordinator. But no, if you can take advantage of shortcuts like buying your florals already designed in a pretty good pick, and then just accent some greenery pieces or accent like a central theme like our sunflowers. I'll kind of pull these out a little bit more. We can pull our mums around just so that we can see those. You can definitely do that as well. So, what questions do you guys have that I can answer for you? Thank you, Diana. She says it looks beautiful. Pam says it's beautiful on the door. Cheryl says I like the extensions. It softens the looks. And that's the whole thing. We don't want it just to come to an abrupt end. I'm always saying feather the edges, which just means taking these little wispy pieces and just kind of letting them extend out and then end the design. Because then harsh edges are kind of like things that we notice, we take advantage, you know, we see and we're like, oh, why does that look weird? It's like, it's because it just stops. So that's all there. Let's see, I saw a question. Dora says, what size and depth staples do you use? I use 1/4 inch staples. Most of the signs that you purchase on the market today, as far as the MDF or the wood signs, are at least a 1/4 inch. So I always use 1/4 inch staples. If you feel like, you know, you want some extra stability, you can always come back in and add a couple dabs of glue over your staples, just to give you, you know, peace of mind. But I generally don't ever have my staples come loose. I use the ergonomic staple gun, so it's easier for me to get pressure in on that staples. I think that's it. Did I answer all the questions? Cheryl said so beautiful. All right, so on Thursday, come join me in the morning. We're making a vintage Edgar Allan Poe inspired raven wreath. So I hope you guys will love that. And that's all I have for you guys. If you'd love to come join my group, I do have a private group available. We teach business and design classes. You get about 8 to 10 private group tutorials every month. So if you'd like to do that, hop on over. And other than that, website's linked to the bottom. YouTube subscribers, look in the description box for all of the information that you want. Other than that, I will talk to you soon and keep designing.